Repair Clinic encourages you to perform this procedure safely. In this video, we will show one or more of these icons to alert you when to use caution. Before you install the carburetor rebuild kit on your string trimmer, first make sure the engine has cooled. Next, remove the wire and boot from the spark plug to prevent the engine from accidentally starting. Now rotate the knob to release the air filter cover. Next, depress the throttle trigger. Hold the throttle arm. Then release the trigger to detach the end of the throttle cable from the swivel. Use pliers to lift out the cable. Loosen the locking nut to fully release the cable from the throttle assembly. Note the orientation of the fuel lines attached to the primer assembly. Then detach them. Be prepared for some fuel to spill. Now, unthread the carburetor mounting bolts. Lift the gasket off and pull the carburetor off of the bolts. Remove the screws to release the primer bulb mounting plate. Again, be prepared for some fuel to spill. Now, remove the screw to release the primer assembly. Pull off the old diaphragm and gasket. Next, remove the screws securing the metering cover and pull the cover off. Remove the old gasket and peel off the old diaphragm. Now remove the screw securing the metering lever pin. Remove the old pin, lever, and spring. Then use pliers to lift out the old needle. Next, unthread the screws securing the throttle rotor assembly. Pull the assembly off and remove the old rotor bearing. You're now ready to install the new carburetor rebuild kit. Position the new rotor bearing on the pin in the carburetor housing. Realign the throttle rotor assembly and replace the screws to secure. Now drop the new needle into position. Position the new spring. Insert the new pin into the new lever. Now depress the spring with the lever as you insert the lever under the needle. Make sure the pin is properly aligned. Then hold the assembly in place as you secure it with the screw. Now align the new diaphragm and gasket on the metering cover. And reposition the cover on the carburetor. Replace the screws to secure. Use a small flathead screwdriver to help pry out the old filter screen. Carefully insert the new filter screen. Align the new gasket and diaphragm on the primer assembly. Then position the assembly on the carburetor. Replace the screw to secure. Align the primer bulb on the assembly. Reposition the mounting plate. And replace the screws to secure. Now slide the carburetor onto the mounting bolts. Then slide on the gasket. Align the assembly on the intake insulator and tighten the bolts to secure. Reconnect the fuel lines to the appropriate ports on the primer assembly. It's important to keep the lines properly oriented. Make sure the adjustment nut on the throttle cable is properly positioned, then insert it into the slot in the throttle assembly. Tighten the locking nut to secure the cable. Rotate the throttle arm and confirm that the swivel is properly aligned, then insert the cable into the swivel. Now depress the throttle trigger to fully seat the cable. Be aware that if the throttle cable is too tight, you can adjust it by repositioning the adjustment nut. Make sure the air filter is fully seated in the cover, then realign the cover and rotate the knob to secure. Reattach the wire and boot to the spark plug. Be aware that if the engine runs improperly, you may need to calibrate the high-speed jet on the carburetor to manufacturer's specifications.